Okay, today, welcome. We're welcoming Grobe to our radio show. It's good to have you.
It's good to be here.
Thank you.
Wow, jinx. Okay, so to start off, who are you and what do you play in the band?
Yeah.
Band.
I am Peter. I do vocals and guitar.
I'm Travis. I play drums.
And I'm Ross, and I play bass.
So how'd you all meet?
Kind of through mutual friends, different bands at one point or another. Ross had booked a band that I used to be in back in his college hometown in Morris, and we played up there, and then met him that way. And then Travis had been in a couple different bands that I knew about or never had played with him directly. So yeah, just through, I guess, friends of friends and playing music more or less. But yeah.
So when was like the point where you decided like let's start a band? Was there a discussion or was it just like?
Well, Grobe actually already existed before Ross and I. Peter was in Grobe with a different lineup.
Okay.
And that all unfolded, and then basically when Peter and I met, he asked me to join Grobe. Then we needed a bassist. We asked Ross, and that's how it came together. And that's kind of when
I was looking for a new group to play with when I moved back to Sioux Falls.
Cool.
After college.
So where are all of you from? Like originally?
I was born in Colorado. I'm from there originally, but I've lived kind of here, there, and everywhere.
Okay.
And ended up in South Dakota.
I've always been in Sioux Falls, born and raised.
Pretty much the Sioux Falls area.
All right.
So were any of you in bands prior to Grobe then? And into this version of Grobe, I should say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Talk about them. Tell us about them.
I've only been in one other group called We Found Home out of Morris. And they're still doing stuff, but since I live in Sioux Falls and they're over in Morris, Minneapolis area, I can't make the drive. So Grope is the main focus now.
I guess like my first actual band, I played in like a math rock band called Chalklaw in high school, and then like right at the end of high school, started kind of like a emo. We call it like pizza emo. It's like pop punk basically, but called Cricket Umpire, and I still play with them. And then I joined Grobe, and I just recently started playing bass with a band called Stem Cells in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, I actually went to high school in Mitchell, South Dakota. Played in a band there called Tinshaw, and that was like a folk indie rock type band. And then I was in the band that Ross had booked me up in Morris playing with. That was a band called Angie Hosh, and they're still going. Although obviously I don't play with them anymore. And then currently I play in one other band out of Sioux Falls, a two-piece instrumental band called Articles. And then I do Grobe, yeah.
So how long have you like each played your respective instruments? Or do you play other instruments? Like what? Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. I mean, I'm a drummer by trade originally. Before I even touched a guitar, I played drums for 5-6 years. But then, yeah, slowly figured out other stuff and branched out to piano and bass and drums and singing and harmonicas and other stuff and keys. But a little bit of everything. But
Dang.
mainly, obviously, guitar in this band.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing drums like 11, 12 years ago. Started playing bass about the same time. I picked up guitar like 3-4 years ago. I'm not any good at it, but I mean, I can play Wonderball, so that's the important,
That's all
the
that
important
matters.
part.
That's literally the only thing that matters.
I did piano for a long time, and then alto and baritone saxophone, and then I've only played bass for about 4 years.
Okay.
So where'd the name Grobe come from? I guess that would be more aimed at you.
Just kind of a word that I had liked or heard. Sadly, we sometimes get asked that, like, does it mean anything? Sadly, no, it's just a word. It doesn't really mean anything. There's no reference or anything.
There's a Ween song called The Grobe, which is
Right.
kind of where the word comes from. But
Okay, yeah.
it's,
More or less,
it's a
yeah.
Ween thing. They made it up. They made up all kinds of shit.
Right.
So we just kind of, or I guess he just took that.
Right, and it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of fitting because it doesn't mean anything. So
Right.
kind of ambiguous, but that's kind of the point, I guess.
So what would you call your genre? Like what is the genre of Grobe?
That's the hardest question.
I know, but it's like an important one, you
Right.
know?
Broadly, probably call it noisy hardcore, noisy skramz, screamo type stuff. Definitely a 90s sound.
Like late 90s emo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely some post elements in there too, but essentially punk. But then
Yeah.
with other
Then
stuff.
subgenres, yeah.
Right, other stuff with it, but aggressive though, for sure. Right.
So, like, what do you all listen to? Is there anything that, like, directly relates to what you guys play now that you feel like is an inspiration for Grobe's sound? Or do you just listen to other stuff and, like, come and make this?
I mean, there's music that we all listen to. I mean, like, the big hardcore bands now, you know, like Knocked Loose and Counterparts and Kublai Khan and stuff like that. All those bands we all listen to, and that's kind of where some of the aggressiveness comes from, but a lot of it comes from, like the late 90s screamo scene, you know, a lot of that music influences, and then bands like Modest Mouse we take from a lot, and the Pumpkins, and just kind of alternative bands like that, and that whole sound kind of comes together to make what is Grobe.
Okay. All right. Brian?
What are some, like, who do you listen to individually? Like, what's kind of the music you guys strive to listen for? Like, you find yourself listening to a lot of bands or genres or
And this is, like, an individual
songs.
basis, I'm sure, because
Yep.
that's...
I'm sure you're all
Right,
very
yeah.
different tastes, yeah.
Well, I guess like broadly as a group, there's maybe only 3 or 4 bands that we all just
Crossover.
love, that we all just wreck with, that are just really into. But then yeah, like you said, it's like different tastes. So like broadly, I'm always trying to push with other stuff, I guess. Listening to stuff I haven't heard before, and that's I don't know, it's weird. I just started getting into Free Throw a lot, and that was a band that these 2 guys really liked, and I never sat down and listened to them. They got me into TMP originally. I never really sat down and listened to them. So yeah, I guess I don't know. I get a lot of. I always am asking these guys for like new bands or stuff to listen to, or hey, what's good, or what's you know, just toss stuff at me. So I guess yeah, I don't know. I ask them for references, or you know, what's going on, and or what they're thinking, or what they like at the time, and yeah. But more or less everything under the sun, though. Me personally, I listen. There's not much I don't listen to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What are you, Travis?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I listen to just about everything, but I guess like this whole third wave emo is kind of like the modern music that I listen to. But I listen to a lot of like the old. I like to get like 7 Inches, like the old hardcore compilations of like bands from the South and stuff that no one ever heard of. You know, I like to listen to those. Not like every day, but they're a cool thing to collect. But bands like that, and then you know, I think we're all like huge Blink-182 fans. Obviously, you know, we all grew up listening to bands like that, kind of that. And then I listen to a lot of like bands like Swans, like the old no wave stuff, and some like the early experimental music I really like. It's not something I really play, but it's kind of cool to gawk at.
Definitely.
A lot of my musical tastes comes from like the 07 to 10 Warped Tour scene. Like I'm really
that.
into like Wonder Years, Alisana, Every Time I Die, Transit, just kind of that era of Warped Tour, especially early A Day to Remember kind of stuff, and that's
Heck yeah.
then it. All of our influences, kind of what we listen to a lot, really influences what Grobe is. So
Eclectic, that's one big thing, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. With like what we listen to is so varied, obviously, but coming together, bringing it we don't want it to be just one thing. We
Yeah.
don't want just 3-chord punk songs. That's not what we're going for.
Yeah, definitely.
It's gotta so like all the influences, you can definitely hear it. It's not all just one thing. There's multiple stuff going on.
I definitely think that's like a common theme of people we interview is just like, or just bands we talk to. It's like none of them have even close to. I mean, yeah, there's always like a couple band crossover, but that's about it.
Right.
Like
yeah,
that's the same it is for like both of us.
Yeah.
For anyone
for
we've ever
sure,
played with.
definitely.
Because I think that makes it more interesting too. I think that makes the music more interesting.
Right. Right.
It's like each instrument is kind of like playing their own influences, and they come together and make something totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
If everyone in your band only listens to Title Fight, you're just gonna sound.
You're
like
gonna
Title
sound like
Fight.
exactly.
You're gonna sound like
Yeah,
Title
you're gonna
Fight,
sound like
you know?
Title Fight.
Exactly.
That's not a bad thing, but yeah.
Right.
It's not a good thing either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So how often do you guys practice together? Where do you practice? What do you do? Where do you songwrite?
Do you just jam, or do you actually like focus on what you're going to play for a set?
We're usually pretty focused, because honestly, all of us, between all of us working full time and then being in multiple things, this, that, and the other, we're real busy. So when we do get together practice, it's business. We pretty much work on our set, what we're gonna play for whatever show we have coming up. Sometimes we'll have downtime or down weeks where we're not, but yeah, no, more or less out of my where I live, my house. It's just littered with gear. I don't have any furniture. More, I guess.
It's a pretty small
really.
place. It's pretty much like a
Amazing.
living room,
It
like a little
is, yeah.
bedroom and a kitchen,
Yeah.
and that's it. And
Mhm.
the one like decent sized room is where we practice.
Gotcha.
And when it comes to songwriting, it's usually Peter showing us something when we have like a down week, and we'll eventually bring that back into the next practice, and we'll just slowly develop. And
We kind of write it all together. Like sometimes we'll have riffs or ideas, but it never write out a whole song and then show it to somebody. It's just like, hey, I have this riff, or like, what can we do with this? And then it'll build, and then we
It's a
figure
pretty
out
easy
what,
process.
what we're
Yeah.
doing with it and where it's going. And then once we have the parts arranged, then it's just like, okay, repetition, and then stops and starts, and like, where's it? That type of stuff.
Transitions.
We write songs usually pretty quickly. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't take
Heck
too
yeah.
long. And then from then it's just a matter of tightening it up, getting it performance level, and getting it where we want
Yeah.
it.
For sure.
What's your favorite city or venue to play? It can be different answers.
oh man,
Well, I guess like how much have you guys toured so far? Where have you gone? How long?
the longest we done was a like 10-day, 9-day show, or 9 shows in 10 days kind of thing. The furthest south we went so far has been Lawrence, Kansas, and that was a really cool show. Really late.
Yeah.
Like music started at like 10:30.
Dang.
Long night.
It was a long night.
So, but we either do like one local show one month, and then the next month we do like a weekend run play out of states, and then we try to do either 7 or 8 shows within a tour, and we'll try to do that like a spring run and a fall run. And we just did our fall run in September, and then now we're actually in the process of planning our spring run, which is going to be like April 28th through May 7th or something like
Okay.
that. So
Cool.
and that's going to be more focused on like west, mid or west kind of thing, like the other half of North Dakota, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and loop back around.
Cool.
Where it's our fall run, we went down and up and around to like Minnesota, Wisconsin, a couple places in Iowa.
Gotcha. So do you have a favorite place to play, or is it just kind of, or is there like a favorite city to go and visit when you're on tour?
Morris, Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
spot.
a time.
That's the spot.
That's
That place is indescribable. It's such a small town, but it's like a whole new world when you walk in. And
Yeah.
we played on our last tour. We did a house show there.
like a pretty last minute one.
Yeah.
And we filled the basement with like 30 people, and we had to be like 80 degrees in that basement.
Oh,
It's
it was so.
It's the hottest I've ever been
Yeah.
in my life.
moisture on the walls. And
My drums were just like covered in just water and sweat. It was kind of grody.
I'd have to say Fargo though. We love Fargo.
Yeah, we love coming up here.
And Fargo's had our back since day one, like everybody up here. I haven't met anybody from Fargo I didn't like, and we've really been embraced up here, which is really lucky. We feel really lucky to have a solid town that we can go to out of state and have killer shows and have people that like us and want to see us and want us here. But yeah, definitely probably Fargo. But I've played Fargo probably 4 or 5 times before with Grobe. So it's those relationships have stayed intact, and I've already known people. So then coming back, like, hey, with this new band, and it's gone over really well. So yeah, I really like Fargo, and Morris is fun too.
Sioux City's a good one that
The
we.
Sioux City's
Yeah,
really,
we're really
it
tight
is
with
well.
people down there.
The Sioux City scene really likes us. So.
It's been mentioned to us that Fargo is very supportive.
Yes.
Like that's like the general attitude.
consensus, yeah.
Definitely.
Is that our scene is very supportive of people who are coming through town. And I know Jack had talked to us a little bit about like going on tour and really realizing how good the Midwest is to you, because everyone's so opening and welcoming, I
For
guess.
sure.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
So I guess in that vein of questioning, like how do you think that the Fargo scene is different from your hometown scene, like Sioux Falls scene?
Or
Do you
Sioux
think
Falls
there's
area, I
yeah?
guess.
Do you think there's a lot of crossover or?
Kind of one and the same to a certain extent, you know.
Yeah.
I think
Same-
the Fargo scene in general is just a little bit bigger. There's more people who go to shows. That's kind of the main thing, but Sioux Falls scene is pretty comparable.
Yeah, we have a very similar like population size and like
Right.
Yeah.
city culture, I guess.
It's the only difference I would say, or like anomaly, is you guys up here, this scene is a lot more based towards what we do, more on the punk emo
Definitely,
punk
yep.
side of things, whereas there's that in Sioux Falls, but it's not prevalent. It's not at the forefront
Yep.
like it is up here. So it's weird. Like we have good shows in Sioux Falls, but then coming up here, it's good just in a different way. So it's, I guess that's the only big difference to me. But size wise, it's very comparable. But yeah.
Yeah, our like scene has definitely been shaped by hardcore music.
Yeah, definitely.
That was like when the New Direction was starting. That was the focus of it. And definitely. So how was your set last night?
Good.
Rocked.
Good.
It was a lot of fun.
You guys played a bunch of new music. Tell us about that.
So we're releasing a new album in March, which will have new stuff that we have written, and then there is a couple songs that when we released our first EP, we redid pretty much ones that we had played for the longest time, and so we're just putting those on there, redone, and then last night we played a new song that we'd never played live before. It was our first trial run with that, and I think everyone liked it, so...
Good.
So once we play our album release show, like some of these songs we'll probably never play again, and then we will keep adjusting our set to more and more new stuff that we write, and eventually that album will be done, and we'll have a new album and that kind of stuff. So
Cool. Very cool.
Big things on the way then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
we're very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, the wheels are always spinning kind of with us. Like we don't really, as far as songwriting, like I said, we write songs relatively pretty quickly, and we don't really stop writing songs. Like I'm kind of always working on something. We're always like fiddling with something. There's always something in the back of our heads that we're messing with. So we don't really like set aside time just to write or just to rehearse or just to record. That then playing and gigging, that stuff is kind of like a big ball of wax,
Yeah.
just all in one thing.
It comes
so.
together when it comes together.
Right, exactly, and we kind of like to keep the wheels rolling. We don't like to sit still. So, but
Sure.
yeah, and I think it helps. Yeah, we found our rhythm with it, and yeah, no, it's coming along.
Cool. Well, you guys sounded awesome.
Thank
think
you.
I
Yeah,
would
it was
both
a
say
solid
that,
set,
yeah.
for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. How long have you guys like been around now? Do you know what your first ever? Actually, we could even move right into the pop quiz from this.
Yeah, we have a little pop.
We have a pop
you
quiz
guys.
for you. So,
What the heck?
It's not that,
I
it's
know.
not that-
Yeah, that's what everyone says. Is like, oh god. But I got so.
Just a couple.
Do you know what the date of your first show, and where it was, and who you played with?
A question for that is it the first like real Grobe show, or is it this version of Grobe?
That's actually a really good question.
No, yeah, it's just kind of weird because this is actually the third iteration of this band.
Okay.
I was doing vocals and guitar, and I had a hell of a time getting a rhythm section, getting two guys locked down. I went through two different bassists and two different drummers before I was able to get a hold of these guys and lock it in. So we did play a couple shows with that lineup. That would have been like real late fall of 2016.
Okay, that might be what I have written down then.
When did you two
Originally,
join?
I joined.
It's like October because we were talking about the brand new show.
Yeah, it would have been like first or second week of October.
Was it right there in
Yeah.
October? then you
Because I
joined,
couldn't
like-
really do much
Right.
until my work schedule was clear after that brand new show.
Right.
Okay.
But
And
our
then you
fir-
joined
our-
in November
Yeah.
of 2016.
That's when we started
November,
getting serious.
December, yeah.
And then our first show as this lineup, that was
Is it Grand Forks?
I was in Grand Forks. It was like December.
At Ojada?
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
27th.
No.
No, it was way earlier than that.
December 9th.
Nope.
17th.
December 2nd.
December 3rd.
Oh.
Man.
Yep. Yeah, so I didn't have the right date for sure because that would have been way earlier than if it was you three as a group. But
Right.
Yeah, a couple months.
do you remember
before,
who
yeah.
that show was with?
Piscatory, Go Murphy. There's one other one. Or did they drop?
That's it. That was
Okay.
just those three.
Yeah.
Just the three of you. Okay, so how well do you guys think you know each other? Or information about each other?
Quite well.
Do you know each other's birthdays?
Nah.
Not even close. Like no guesses whatsoever.
No.
Yours is in April. I know.
This is in August, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yours is in.
I didn't
Oh,
know this.
man.
I didn't know
Help me
this
out,
was such
bro.
a hard question.
You're in March, right?
No,
You're in March.
no. July?
July?
June.
June.
I knew that.
We got the
Anyone
months.
take a good guess of days.
The months were all correct.
The months
yeah.
are all correct. Yes.
24th, right?
You're close.
20th?
Other way.
7th, 27th,
27th.
Keep going.
28th.
Keep going.
30th.
I give it up.
Back up one more.
I give up.
Oh, I guess it's 29th then.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Mine is...
That's the date of our.
Oh, yeah.
Tentatively.
Got it.
Yeah, we're gonna be back here on my birthday.
Okay,
so.
cool.
When you
Oh,
said
yeah,
that,
that's
yeah,
right.
that's
That
right,
is your
so-
birthday.
Is that
How
leaked
could I forget?
information?
Oh,
Did you
I mean, it's in the works.
It's tentative.
Okay, okay.
It's more than likely.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You heard it here first, folks.
Exclusive.
June 18th.
Nah.
Kind of close.
10th?
1 up.
11th?
Yeah.
Don't-
Is it the 11th? Yeah.
One up.
You know,
I
you know
did
how
that.
much longer we're gonna be here?
Okay. Hey.
They don't know. They don't know.
I didn't know what he said.
He didn't need it.
I don't know.
17th?
He's got these fast
No.
hands. I don't know what he's
The
doing.
7th? August 7th?
7th.
Okay.
Okay.
Quick draw over here.
Yeah. He plays that guitar so fast, I can't see his fingers.
No.
Beautiful.
So where
All
can
right.
where can we find your music?
Yeah.
What
What are your
Or your
links?
handles, I guess. Yeah.
Bandcamp and Spotify right now. We have a new single up there that came out last month, and then our album will be up on all digital stuff and physically here on the 16th of March. So our release show is the 15th, so then we'll drop it
Cool.
digitally.
All right.
And if you pre-order it now, you get a track.
Yeah,
not,
you-
that's
yeah.
not the single.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go
so-
to Bandcamp and you pay $5 for the pre-order, there's not the single, but a new track that's out.
Cool.
So not it's an old song. But
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, that's all the questions we have for you. Thank you for joining us on this
Thank you so
wonderful
much
day.
for
Thank you.
having us.
Yeah, of course.